Hello friends, I'm Colin and welcome back to my channel. Well, I said recently that I didn't cover Glitter and Laser's yacht vacation because it just didn't really appeal to me. I didn't have a lot to say about it, but her most recent cruise video made me realize there is actually quite a bit to say. I've said before that I think Anna has a cycle or a pattern much like Amberlynn and Chantal, and I think that really comes out whenever she takes a trip. To be really frank, I haven't covered any of her vacations because I think travel vlogs are boring. To me, they're boring to me. I think it's like the modern day equivalent to your neighbor pulling out the vacation slideshow.
Here's Guido the guide leading me around a bed of quicksand. Here's Guido the guide from the waist up. That's his hat right there.
However, I am fascinated by Anna, so I do peek in on these from time to time. And I have watched some other people react to her vacation content too. Just so you know, if you want to watch some of her vlogs yourself, you'll have to find some of them on her second channel, Glitter and Lasers Adventures. I know some of you are saying, wait, she has a second channel? And yeah, a lot of people said that, which is why she doesn't use it anymore. Her latest adventure was, as I mentioned, a cruise on Virgin Voyages.
Our ship, she's our ship. Gonna get on her, sleep somewhere and do some things.
She often starts her travel vlogs at the airport or on the way to the airport. I'm not sure if that's just typical for travel vlogs, but unless something crazy happens at the airport, it just feels like pointless filler content to me. And for Anna, an excuse to film people who didn't want to be filmed.
It looks like our flight is gonna be a little bit delayed, but not too bad. And it's totally okay because I have like a 3-hour layover, so. Plane, we're headed to St. Thomas, and by we I mean me. There's nobody with me. Why am I saying me? So, you know, consistency at least.
I also have to say, her dedication to protein is really admirable.
Sausage roll, sausage roll. It's like a little flute. It's just a sausage and a tortilla. This man like hyped it as like an authentic Austin cuisine. Meanwhile, I've lived here forever and never heard of this thing. But, I mean, it'll do. I just needed some protein for breakfast.
Sausage tortilla with a diet soda. Breakfast of champions. Not that I really care or want to police what people eat. You have to make do at an airport. But what we're not gonna do is pretend that this is even remotely healthy just because it has a little protein in it. So Anna finally arrives at her destination and she tells us something truly devastating.
Just realized in getting in this Uber that I left my CPAP on the plane, which means two things. A, I am without a very expensive piece of medical equipment and I am super mad at myself for leaving it because it is not something I want to have to replace. And I'm annoyed. I'm just like mad at myself, which is not a great way to start this trip. And two, it means I'm gonna have the world's worst sleep on this trip. So, wow, this vacation's gonna be a banger. You know what, we will endure. I will caffeinate religiously and I will make it through, but I will never, ever, ever forget my CPAP again. If I can find it, if I can get it at the airport. We're in the process of talking to the airline and everything, but just like fingers crossed that on our way home, they find it and I can take it home. Because at least that would be like a decent end to this situation.
What is with these girls losing track of their CPAPs? Honestly, I thought Chantal was taking inspiration from Anna, not the other way around.
Chantal had driven to Nodder's house. The first part I'm inferring. I think I heard that this happened, but that she drove to his apartment because she wanted her CPAP. Which, by the way, all day she's been ranting about this CPAP, about how she needs this CPAP to live, about how she could die in her sleep without this CPAP.
In my opinion, I think Anna seemed way too casual about this whole situation, because isn't that dangerous? Isn't it dangerous to sleep without your CPAP? She acts like she's just gonna caffeinate heavily and all will be well, but the reason you're going to be tired is because you stop breathing in the middle of the night, right? But okay, sure, fine. We'll just fix it with coffee, because I'm willing to bet this nice cruise ship doesn't have her beloved Monster Energy drinks. So Anna shows us her boarding the ship, she shows us the room, and that's about it for the first day. The next clip is her waking up on the following morning.
We were supposed to shoot the sunrise this morning, but I'm just sore, just hurting really bad. So I'm going back to bed. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna go back to bed.
I'm sorry, what? She's sore? Sore from what? We never really get an explanation of this. I know she probably feels rough because of the lack of sleep, but the soreness was really confusing to me. The thing about Anna, though, is whenever she makes these travel vlogs, everything is already spoiled well ahead of time in her short form content. She posted this YouTube video on May 20th, but early on she says that the cruise happens around Cinco de Mayo, so it's a couple weeks old. I already knew she lost her CPAP because she posted it on her Instagram stories, which disappear after 24 hours. But thankfully I screen recorded it because I've learned to do so with just about everything of hers.
Hey guys, I woke up to like a pretty sassy DM and the person was like, obviously you're having a terrible time, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? If you don't like me, you don't have to follow me. And I get it. I'm not for everyone. It's not personal. I'm not going to be hurt about it, but please just like unfollow me. And also, if I do seem tired right now and you missed it, I lost my CPAP on the plane. So I'm currently not sleeping. So I'm doing the best I can with zero sleep. And if you have a CPAP, you understand, because without it, I am borderline monster status. The fact that I'm continuing to be a nice person is really, really a triumph, a personal triumph, to be honest.
Yeah guys, obviously she's having a great time and she's such a nice person, which is why she took time out of her luxury cruise vacation to respond to hate comments. And if you don't understand that, you just need to unfollow her. I'm sure it's hard to create boundaries when your job is making social media posts about your life, but I simply cannot imagine responding to or even reading hate comments while I'm on vacation. When I take time off or it's just the weekend, my workplace better not try to contact me. And if they do, you know when they'll get a response from me? Monday. I do feel bad for Anna that she wasn't feeling great, but also, when has Anna gone on vacation without getting sick or injured? It's just become a running theme on her channel. Speaking of a running theme, I do have a theory as to why she was so sore. Like I said, she spoils everything in her short form content, so I already saw this little dandy.
Lap 2!
She's getting no sleep but still trying to exercise, which she calls accountability, but I call a bad idea. Trying to exercise on top of that is just foolishness to me. You gotta get good sleep if you're exercising, or you'll feel miserable, and you'll make boring ass vlogs. A lot of people in the comments brought up how lackluster this trip was, and they knew basically nothing more about Virgin Voyages or the Caribbean than they did before. And I think that's kind of understandable given Anna's lack of sleep. But also, if your sleep is that disrupted, wouldn't you, I don't know, watch your CPAP like a hawk? I just can't imagine that not being my #1 priority. I know airlines are kind of notorious for losing or damaging medical equipment, but it sounds to me like Anna had it in her carry-on and then she just left it on the plane.
I left my CPAP on the plane. I will never, ever, ever forget my CPAP again.
So at least she's taking accountability for that, for now. She did show some clips of her swimming and seeing sharks and stingrays, and that was kind of the highlight of the whole trip. Most of it was just her complaining about how miserable she was.
I don't feel great. My body is mad at me. My body is very mad at me. It took one day on a cruise for me to feel totally and completely broken. I'll tell you, I'm a little embarrassed I couldn't get up on the playscapes, but you know, it's just something to try in the future.
But it wouldn't be a Glitter and Lasers travel vlog without her overcoming adversity.
We have one last dress to shoot, and I didn't want to. I was like, I'm not gonna shoot this dress. And then I did it. I got up, I put the dress on, I put the makeup on.
Sure, she lost her CPAP, she got terrible sleep, and she wasn't able to play on the obstacle course. But she was able to conquer the biggest challenge yet, putting on a dress. This was so funny to me because, look, this is how the pattern goes. Anna may or may not have plane or luggage related problems, and then usually she has some kind of physical injury or illness or limitation. Sometimes the limitation is just going shopping and not finding something in her size. Sometimes it's not fitting somewhere. Sometimes it's just exercise that she is not in shape enough to accomplish. There's often some comment about how she never hates her body, but she hates it right now, which I honestly think comes across as so manipulative and like she's fishing for sympathy. What I think she wants is for people to go in her comments and be like, no, it's not your fault. It's the entire world's fault for not accommodating you. But then at the end of the trip, she usually talks about all the life lessons she learned. This one is the most annoying to me personally because it's always the same lesson she's learning, which basically boils down to everything is hard, but I have to do the hard things because someday they'll be easier. Or sometimes it's, I learned that I care too much about what other people want and I should care more about what I want.
This is my travel nightmare, guys. I did not book an extra seat for the flight to Finland like I always do because I thought there was open seats, but there actually wasn't. It was like a mirage. So I'm here. The flight is completely full. I just really hate my body right now. And I never hate my body, but I really hate it right now. It is day one of the masterclass. I am sat outside because my stomach is so rough this morning that the sight of food just started to make me feel real sick. Something I haven't really told you up until this point is that I sat in that little section of the restaurant because the main table where all of these dishes were going to be displayed had chairs that didn't work for me. It hit me. It hit me because those tarts weren't going to be able to be at that table, just like I hadn't been able to be at that table. And that table felt like a place where I wasn't included. And I start on this one moment, focusing on one phrase that starts running through my head. Am I enough? And then I remember going like, for who? For me? And I realized that the predominant thought that runs a lot of what I do in life is being enough for somebody else. And I never really was thinking, what's enough for me? I don't love going uphill. And no, I'm not in shape enough that going uphill for an extended period of time is easy. And yes, it sucks every single time, but I do it because someday it won't be hard. Someday I'll take an adventure just like this and it won't feel difficult. But I have to go through all these times of it being difficult to get to that point. Complained a lot in the beginning, but it was worth it. It's always worth it. I never regret pushing myself and seeing something amazing. As many of you know, I just got back from a trip to Spain and Portugal. Looks like I had a banging time. But in reality, on that trip, every single thing that could possibly go wrong went wrong. And I felt like old me would have lost her damn mind, but new me was able to be resilient. We all got food poisoning, except me, having a sensitive little tummy, had like violently, explosively bad stomach issues. My biology decided to like change it up on me. And now I was suddenly severely allergic to horses. And we get there and I go to sit down and the chairs are tiny and they have arms. And I was like, no problem. It's okay. I'll just ask for another chair. So I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, like, this chair's not going to work for me. And honestly, with what I was paying for this dinner, I deserved a chair that fit. I think resiliency is about taking those experiences that we fail at or make mistakes at or don't go the way we planned and getting up from them and then changing our behavior so they don't happen again. We're in Barcelona and you know what happens wherever I go that's new. Yeah, I've got to go shopping. So let's go shopping for plus size clothing in Barcelona. It's clearly like, look, you're never gonna get laid. You should just like hide your body. That's the vibe of this section of clothing. I hate my body a little bit more shopping here because it's so damn depressing. Shopping in Spain sucks. I hate it. Like, this is the worst. I felt really great about my body over the past couple months, but I get why people don't shop in store because it can tank you real fast. I still love this dress. I didn't love the experience that I got it in, and I in some ways regret buying it because I gave money to a system that is not kind to my body. I should have just gone online and bought it, but it is what it is. I now own this dress. It's my first Marina Rinaldi dress. It is a size 22, which is the smallest dress I've worn in a very long time, so it's special to me for that. But beyond that, it's also a signifier of what shopping like a plus size person is. So while it's a really special dress in a lot of good ways, it's also a really special dress in a lot of crappy ways. And that is just the reality of shopping as a plus size person abroad.
I am in the bathroom and it is very small, and I am nervous that I will not fit on the toilet. And potentially might be the most embarrassing situation I have to be in. So I'm gonna try to pee right now and we're gonna pray to God I fit. I will say my spatial awareness of my own body is really not great right now because my body's changed so much that like I just don't mentally know what size I am and where I'll fit. So I could totally fit, I could totally not fit. And so it's where things like this, when traveling, things get really like gut-wrenching. When I fit, no drama, I fit. So I'm all by myself. Everyone, I don't know where the hell they are at this point, but just a lot of really small spaces that I'm having to get through, and I'm feeling really overwhelmed because it's very uncomfortable. It is like stressful to be alone because it's like if I hurt myself or if I like can't get through, there's no one to tell. So I kind of keep taking these little nooks as like a fingers crossed I can crawl my way through it. And I've literally been crawling on my hands and knees, which is also not what I was prepared for today. And I'm just trying not to cry. That's it, we're back at the marina. The adventure is over and I learned a lot. I learned that when I get uncomfortable, man, it hits hard. And sometimes I just want to give up, but the best things happen when I don't. I feel like I had an adventure, a lot of challenges, but also a lot of memories that I'm really proud of.
So with all that being laid out, I just think it's hilarious that she has to include that little clip about how she wasn't gonna do this thing, but then she did. And it was just putting on a dress to take some photos. Anna likes to talk out of both sides of her mouth about how her body is changing, but also there's still lots of things she can't do. And I think that would be reasonable and understandable for most people. But at this point, it's been a long time since she started on her health journey. She's got a health journey playlist with videos that go back for 3 years. And I'm not even sure if she's still on Ozempic or not because I haven't really noticed much of a change in her in quite some time. Of course, there's more to health than weight loss, but when you're at Anna's level of obesity, creating those healthy habits will inevitably lead to weight loss, which would likely help with a lot of her medical issues. One of her biggest problems, and the one that really sent her down this health journey in the first place, was that her body was limiting her from being active, which is clearly something she's passionate about. She said recently in the caption of a reel that she stopped losing weight a few months ago, and she was ready to blame herself until doctors told her that the rest of the fat on her body was unburnable lipedema fat, which I simply don't believe to be true. To me, the lipedema seems to be a convenient excuse. If she believes that she's doing everything possible to be healthy and there really is no more normal fat for her to lose, then of course we'll stop hearing that I just have to do hard things until they get easy life lesson. If anything, I think she started to lean into another perspective, which is big equals strong. She believes all the fat on her body is just lipedema tissue that can't be helped. But since she works out so much, surely there's loads of muscle buried beneath, right? Obviously, I can't peek into Anna's brain and know what she's thinking, but she does love to latch on to certain little phrases and repeat them, and some of those can be really telling. Lately, she's stopped talking about losing weight and started talking about growing muscle.
We'll see where we're at in like a month. And if we're progressing a lot and my muscle's growing, you know, in line, then we'll like, great, now we can schedule. It's just something to try in the future. And my body has grown to support me a little bit more. So, you know what? Just another thing to work towards.
Anna, with peace, love, and light, you are not going to be able to build enough muscle to power through things at your size. A human body can only bear so much. If I stacked a ton of bricks in my Honda Accord, it doesn't matter how well I take care of it otherwise, eventually the weight would cause it to break down. But at the very end of this cruise video, where I expected the life lesson portion to be, there was just this.
That's it. It's time to go home. It's time to disembark and fly back to Austin. I had a ton of fun. I'm also exhausted. Still have not found my CPAP. So the vacation was awesome. Losing my CPAP? Not so much.
I think part of the reason there was no big life lesson in this one is because there was really nothing to blame but herself. She forgot the CPAP and everything went downhill from there. She can't blame a clothing store or a small chair or her body. It does suck, and I'm sorry she had a crappy trip, but when you place it side by side with everything else, it just becomes glaringly obvious. Well, never fear, my friends, because Anna did find some way to blame someone else.
This was my first day back at the gym in a little while, and for a good reason. A couple weeks ago, my CPAP got stolen, which is crazy to me, because, like, who steals a medical device?
Stolen? Girl, get out of here. Be serious. And then, when people questioned her on that in the comments, because they'd seen the cruise video, she was like, well, I called the airport and they couldn't find it, which means someone had to have stolen it. That is so silly. There is no way to know if it got stolen or just lost in the shuffle because it's an airport. I really wish I had proof of those comments, but surprise, surprise, she deleted that video before I had a chance to screen record it. I had to get it from her Facebook, which I'm starting to feel like is an untapped market because who is still using Facebook? I even checked TikTok and this video is not there. Much to think about. I'm not even sure what she thinks she's doing when she lies like this. It's like she's counting on the fact that people don't watch every platform she's on. Real convenient, except for the time that she claimed, well, I never lied or tried to mislead about being on weight loss drugs, but she only posted about it on Instagram and nowhere else. So we're supposed to keep up with her everywhere, except when we're not. Only certain audiences are supposed to know if she's on weight loss medication, or that she's a Starbucks affiliate, or what truly happened to her CPAP. I don't watch her fashion hauls that often because I think they're about as boring as her travel vlogs. But I think I should start because she's bending the truth on those bad boys too.
Changed into a neon suit, which I thought would be better for like climbing. There was this like obstacle course thing that I was not good at. I was humbled by, I think is the best way to say it. Honestly, the bottom would be fine for most activities. It was just like the climbing and falling, lots of falling actually, that kind of messed it up. So I feel like maybe I'm being a little harsh on this one because it's not the norm for a swimsuit to be doing all of the falling I was doing.
This is gonna sound like nitpicking because it is, but the issue is not that she was bad at the obstacle course or that she fell a lot. She couldn't even get up onto the obstacle course. She said that and showed that in the cruise vlog.
I'll tell you I'm a little embarrassed I couldn't get up on the playscapes, but you know, it's just something to try in the future.
Does she think we're stupid? Or does she really just think that her followers aren't watching all of her YouTube videos? I don't know. I think I'm just getting worked up because the more and more I watch of her, the less and less I can tolerate her. I used to think she was really good at curating and crafting her content to show exactly what she wanted us to see, but I don't know, I think she's starting to get sloppy, or maybe she's always been sloppy and I just never noticed. I guess I'm just gonna have to start watching everything though. Joy. I can't complain too much though, because as much as she frustrates me, she does intrigue me. It's like following a story and puzzling all the little pieces together. Actually, I just bought her book recently to get more of her backstory. Yes, she wrote a book back in 2018. Curious that she never talks about it. She actually quit her office job to write that book, believe it or not. Well, she quit to write the book and become a full-time influencer. And that's another thing. There's been a lot said about the privilege that comes with Anna's lifestyle, and it is so off-putting to hear her complaining about it constantly. She gets to go on all these vacations for free, as her job. That's not to say it's an easy job. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it. It sounds really stressful. I wonder if anyone could actually enjoy these vacations if they're worried about capturing it on film the entire time. But that being said, it's still a wildly privileged position to be in. The idea of yapping to your camera about how oppressed you are by a clothing store or a Michelin star restaurant is just ridiculously out of touch. Well, folks, I don't have a lot more to say other than I wonder if we'll have a return to the formula in her next travel vlog, or if she's just kind of given up and accepted that she's done all the learning that she can. Let me know what you all think. Is it the lack of sleep, or are we seeing a new Anna for better or worse? Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I'll see you next time.